So moving on, we're going to go to kind of a different tact here. We'll go dark horse. So a team that you think is primed for a deep Final Four run. I have yet to lead with Kyle on any category here, so I'm going to let you start. Give me one of your Final Four teams that is maybe a little bit under the radar and you think could upset a couple teams, Steven.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say they're under the radar because they're like a top-ish seed, but I have UCLA in my Final Four. They pretty much brought back the same group they had that went there last year. I like some of the matchups they're going to get along the way because, like, I'm kind of with I'm with Davis, where I don't really buy into Baylor that much. I think that I have them playing Indiana in the second round because I guess because they won their game today. That's why I put them there, because I thought Indiana was going to win. Awesome. So I have them beating them, and then I have them beating Purdue. Unfortunately, my Purdue Boilermakers, because they have been, while they've been good this year, they have kind of faltered in some big games. So I can't imagine them going super far. One team that I do kind of have making a dark horse run is I do have Loyola Chicago in the Elite Eight, just because I love those Ramblers, baby.
I mean, if they get past Villanova, I mean, it absolutely makes sense at that point, because I believe you also said that you had Longwood upsetting Tennessee, and they're the other high seed in that little bunch there. So that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know why I have that. I really should change it. But I kind of love
24 hours.
But at the same time, like,
keep it, because if Longwood wins, you'll never live with yourself.
No, I know, and it happened to me in 2017. I had Yale beating Baylor, and I was like, day of, I was like, there's no way they're beating Baylor, and I switched it, and then they friggin' did, and I regret, and I also regret not I regret being a coward and not actually picking UMBC against Virginia when I said it was going to happen.
You called it.
Davis, dark horse, deep run.
We touched on them a little bit, but I really like USC. They're a team that, if you look at their schedule, they beat who they were supposed to beat. They lost to who they were supposed to lose to. Sometimes all you need is just freak athletes. And you already mentioned the height. And if everyone goes nuts, a run just kind of comes together. And, I'm working with limited knowledge here, obviously, but I like what I've seen of them. And I think if you have a bunch of athletes in one squad like that, you can turn some heads.
I agree with you. I may have them losing in the first round just on principle, because I can't root for USC at all at any capacity.
And why is that?
I do agree. I do agree, and I do see them potentially being like, because there's always one weird team that goes far and makes the Final Four. There's always one like team that's kind of outside the box, and they could definitely be that. Just because, like you said, they have the athletes to get there.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Go.
It's funny too, because I was going back and forth. I ultimately went with them. I almost went with Iowa, that same side of the bracket. Every year I do this. I don't know why, but I think, man, is this the year Iowa basketball is going to do something? And then they end up letting me down. But
didn't they lose to Oregon last year?
Watching them in that tournament, though, like,
this is a very different team than last year's team, I will say.
Yeah, and I mean, Kyle, you said yourself, I know they're scoring machine at times. I couldn't quite do it, though. I've been burned too many times.
They're gonna lose to South Dakota State, baby.
Iowa
Probably.
and
99 to 96.
Iowa won both of the Big Ten tournaments, the men's and women's, because they have Caitlin Clark on their women's team, who's an absolute flamethrower. Pat, your dark horse.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have two now that you boys have trashed on one of them. My big dark horse is Virginia Tech to the Elite Eight.
Yeah,
I have
that.
The perfect build of a collegiate run. They've got athletic wings, a couple flamethrowers, and a fifth-year senior point guard in Storm Murphy, who has the tournament experience. He's been there a billion times by now.
Knows what he's doing. 5 years.
Yeah, they control the pace. They prevent the other team from doing what they want to do as effectively as they want to do it. And they win games that are close. So I'm a big believer in this Virginia Tech team. And I also, Final Four team, since you wanted a Final Four team, I kind of like Auburn.
Wow.
Walker Kessler is kind of that guy.
He had, at one point,
future
more
Nick
blocks
Walker
by himself.
Kessler.
At one point, he had more blocks by himself than I think everyone but 35 teams in the nation. So like 90-something teams, he had more blocks than as a team by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think that it's such a detriment to teams playing them, every layup needs to be different than your regular layup. You need a different angle, a different arc, and that can really eat at teams. Unless you have a guy with a lot of experience doing that, it's going to be tough for teams to adjust. And I think Auburn goes on a run.
All right. I have an SEC Final Four pick here, but it's not Auburn. I don't think any of us have said that they are actually going to win a game. Kyle said that they're going to lose a game, but I really like Tennessee. The wins that they've had this year, they've beaten Auburn. They have 3 top 10 wins this year: Auburn, Arizona, and Kentucky. And last I checked, all of those teams are top 2 seeds. So I really like the odds. If Tennessee won the SEC tournament, they took care of the Aggies who didn't make it. Unfortunately, they were in the NIT. But I really like Tennessee. Rick Barnes. There's not many college head coaches that I know. He is one of them, ironically, which makes no sense because it's not like he's won anything. But I know his name, which should tell me a little bit about him, as in maybe he's good enough to go pull out a win or two. I have another team, but I'm going to save it because we do have to give our Final Four predictions here at the end. So